Quick questions with David. New song, guys. All right. Always excited to find out what our questions are going to be. So hit me.
All right. When did the name Jesus become more than just a name to you?
Ooh,
Jesus.
wasn't expecting that one.
Jesus.
Yeah, I will start. I'll give you guys a chance to think
Please.
about it. So the name Jesus, it's very interesting. As a young Jewish person, the first time I heard his name was actually in a bad way. It was that my people killed the God of another people.
Right.
And that's what I was told. And I was like, man, that's awful. And I feel guilty about that. I don't really know who this is, but that was the first time I heard the name Jesus. And then it became almost, I used the word Jesus when something would happen. I'd stub my toe. It was just one of those things where it never meant anything to me. And I remember when I first accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior, it was a weird thing to say his name that way now. I had been saying his name for 30 years in the wrong way or in a negative context. It took a little while for me to say Jesus or Jesus Christ in a way where it felt natural and it felt strong and it felt reverent. And I remember that it was probably about a year after I accepted him. I was just having a conversation with somebody and it rolled off my tongue in a teaching way. And I was like,
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is. It came out and it felt natural and wonderful. And since then, I've been able to say his name with a feeling of reverence and love and just natural.
Yeah. What about you, Javi? That's a good one. Oh, you're muted.
Hello?
There you are.
Yeah, I don't
Yep.
know why. I must have pressed it by accident. You want to ask that again?
What about you, Javi?
Okay.
When did the name Jesus become more than just a name to you?
That is a good question. I'm thinking about several different times, you could say. So for me was when I first gave my life to Christ. Obviously, the name means so much more then. But I think I started thinking more about my faith as I continue to be Christian and just kind of like continue to like dive into Christianity. That using Jesus in vain, the name hurt me, like it pierced my ears almost, right? It really bothered me. And I think that's where I would say that the level of that name and what he has done for me and who he is became a big thing for me. So I would say around the time that I gave my life to Christ, but also studying more of what this is and who he is. So I would say, I don't know if you want to date, but 2015. Around that time, I think when I first gave my life to Christ is where his name became huge for me, and like really being careful of not using his name in vain and stuff.
Yeah. Mine's maybe a little bit more complicated. I mean, when you grow up in the church, the word Jesus is just always there, right? It's always there. It's always a name. It's always a person. You never really question it. So it was always there. And then as I grew, like it became more and more of an abstract concept because, we talk sometimes about Christianese, people use words and like they've used them so many times that they stop even meaning anything. It just whatever. And so I think the word Jesus was always a kind of an abstraction to me. And then I was having like the Easter Sunday experience and realizing that this man lived a perfect life. This man died on this cross, and this man was real. Yeah. This man suffered, and I knew what suffering felt like. This man was empathetic to people and good to people, and I know what it's like to be empathetic and good to people. And this man was sacrificial to us, and I know what it's like in some sense to be sacrificial to people. And when I was able to align who Jesus really was with a part of me and say, hey, he was a man like me, then, and I stopped seeing him as the deity, and I know that's probably bad to say, but I stopped seeing him as the deity and I started seeing him as the human, and I started seeing his humanness, and I started seeing his human characteristics and how alike we were, how different we were also, but how alike we were and how much I wanted to be more like it. That's when the word Jesus became real. And it became something that I could aspire to, something that I could never live up to, but aspire to nonetheless, because it's something I should be doing. So I think that's my answer.
That is beautiful. Love it. Wow.
Cool. You caught me off guard with that one, but I think it took me to a good place. So, guys, I love hearing our answers and learning more about you guys. I hope our listeners do too. And next Monday we'll be back again. All right, guys. See you next Monday.
See you.
See ya.